Boilermakers are on a 3-game winning streak with a couple of wins last week. On the road last Friday night at Dayton, Purdue beating the Flyers 67-59, and then Sunday, Purdue knocks off Valparaiso at Mackey Arena 83-56. Boilermakers now 5-3 on the season. Got a couple of games coming up this week. Tomorrow night, Purdue will host Southeast Missouri. That one will tip off at 7 o'clock at Mackey Arena. And then we get into Big Ten action for the first time this season on Sunday afternoon as Purdue travels to Williams Arena to take on Minnesota. That game will tip at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Good evening, everybody. It is the Katie Gearlds Show. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. We're going to have a couple of pinch hitters tonight for the head coach. Kelly Komara will join us for the first half, and Alex Guyton will join us for the second half. So we'll recap those games. We'll look ahead to the future games and talk a little bit more about this program. You can follow along Purdue Athletics Facebook, X, and Instagram. We'll be watching on Facebook, so let us know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions for either of our coaches. When we come back, we'll be talking with Kelly Komara. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Hit 1-3.
Well, this takes it to the bucket. A nice job, and just like that, you know, they're understanding.
To making her a very, very dangerous player.
Well, there's thought about it. Jones thinks about it, and she puts it down. Layden fires that. And that one does go down. It down. Jackson not able to beat the double team. It is deserving, I think, as we see a steal from Jones there. Terry out to Jones again. She's going to take a three, and she's going to send it down with ease. And the freshman playing like a true leader now with 15 points. Ernest was setting herself, pump fakes. And again, it's Jones on the defensive end. What a player and what a game she's having, with so much physicality and obviously that high IQ she already has, as Madison Layden able to get a hand on that one and put some high pressure on Ray Redmond. Just takes it out of her hand, puts that one up, puts it down.
You know, Ernest, being the player that she is easily able to intercept that and then capitalize it right after.
Well, I think if Valparaiso can just get this lead to under 10 with 5 minutes to go, finally Ellis is able to get one going. I think you're so right, Bree. You know, it just takes Jones and Ellis to really put the final touches on this game. Great job by Jones once again to get that one to fall. I think both teams now just need a good chance to get maybe some of those younger players in. Great job by Layden and the Boilermakers. Great defensive effort again by the Boilermakers. They're just happy to keep playing with that same intensity as well. Jada Smith into Mary Ashley Stevenson, and into the score column she goes.
Now that Valparaiso has hit 51, it will still be another game until Purdue is able to keep a team scoring 50 points or less.
Monson puts that one up, puts it down. What a great shot there by the freshman. Held it.
Not hit 1-3.
95.3 Bob FM.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and we're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Joined by Kelly Komara. We're going to talk basketball in a second, but let me get to the important stuff. You have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. Is the holiday shopping all complete yet?
Oh, it's nuts. You know, thank gosh for my wife Jen, because she's holding it down. But you know, I was telling Tim when we were off air, we're doing the elf on the shelf, and that is the most unbelievable thing. I avoided it for so many years, but it has turned out to be the most magical thing. So we have mistletoe at our house every night.
Yeah, and always watching, making sure the kids are always being watched.
Always watching. That's what we say. It's been fun.
Well, you know, someday you're going to look back in those days and you're going to miss them.
That's right.
So you enjoy them while you got them.
I am, Tim. I'm enjoying every second of it.
By the way, while we're talking about enjoying it, we did not just make a special cake today. They have gotten me a birthday cake this afternoon.
Y'all, it's Tim's birthday. Give it up for Tim on his birthday. 35 years.
No, I
young.
don't look
Good job,
bad
Tim.
for 90, do I? All right, let's get to the task at hand. That's basketball. And you know, this team had not won a game away from Mackey Arena before you went to Dayton last week. You had a couple games down in the Bahamas that were certainly winnable that got away. A game at UCLA that didn't go really well, but everybody that's played the Bruins have found the same thing. What does you've been a player, you've been a coach for a long time. What has to be different on the road to get a win?
I think especially, you know, for us on the road, you have to create your own energy. And what I mean by that is you go to arenas and most of the time they're not packed. You know, you're on the road and it's a midweek game, but you have to create your own energy. And that means if shots aren't falling, if things aren't going your way, you still have to have the same type of energy the entire game. And so for us, Dayton was rocking though. There was a lot of people there. Good energy on a Friday night, and we knew we had to lock in and not only create our own energy, but positive energy if things didn't go well.
You know, that's an arena that has held a lot of big basketball games because they've played the NCAA men's play-in games for years. They're really nice facility, and you mentioned the 3,200 people, but it sounded like a lot more than that Friday night.
It did. It was loud. It was. We walked out of the locker room, and I looked around and I said, wow, this is a great crowd. And, you know, for our players, we've played in environments like that before. I mean, UCLA was really good, but to continue to have those type of non-conference experiences will help us in the Big Ten.
Before I talk about the actual game itself, I want to give a shout out, and we don't talk about Ian McDougall very much, but he's our sports information guy. Ian, we came about this close to not having a broadcast on Friday night because, as you know, we had a volleyball match on Friday night that was going on at the same time, and so the way that we're set up at our stations, we can only have one game coming in at a time. So we put this game, the basketball game, on streaming, and we had tested everything out. We get to the arena Friday night, and I hit start, and it says, will not connect. Will not connect. And now it's 20 minutes, and now it's 15 minutes, and now it's 10 minutes to tip. He was able to find a hot spot that we were actually able to connect to and get through the firewall or whatever it was.
Right.
We got on 60 seconds before tip-off.
No way.
So thank you to Ian.
Yeah, Ian. I'll give him some of your cake.
Yeah, that's right. No, he's not getting mine. All right. So the game itself, you come out, and the one thing you want to do when you're on the road is you want to get the crowd out of it early, and you want to hit shots early. You hit your first 4 3-pointers in the first 5 minutes.
And we kind of looked at each other on the bench like, okay, we're making up for some of the lack of shooting in the games in the Bahamas. So we were really excited, you know, and we had watched obviously a lot of film on Dayton. Knew that if we hit some shots, maybe they would sort of fall apart and we'd take the lead and cruise through that game, but that wasn't the case. No. They played very, very well.
Yeah, they played hard, and I thought, you know, we see in the Big Ten it's a pretty physical league. I thought that was a pretty physical basketball game Friday night.
Yeah, it really was, and you know, you don't know how physical it is until you talk to your post players the next day, and Caitlin Harper's holding up her arms and their scratches and bruises, and you know, they're tired and not physically exhausted from the running as much as the banging. So it was a physical game, and you know, something obviously, you know, I love the physicality of it, but it was fun to watch, and glad we could pull that one out for sure.
You never trailed in that, and I think it was something that Katie talked about after the game. That was a point of emphasis. Do not let them get in the lead. Do not let them get the momentum back here.
Yeah, but we never felt good. I mean, there was never a point where we looked at each other and thought we had control of the game. They would hit a clutch shot, you know, every time they needed it. We could go up 8 and maybe 9 and then 10, and then they'd hit a 3 and just cut it down to 7. So, you know, at no point did we really feel good about it. At no point did I think we were going to lose, but at no point did I feel really comfortable.
It was interesting. You had the outside shot going early, but early in the fourth quarter when they had narrowed the lead down, I think they got it as close as 4 in the second half. You started to go, you had gone inside a little bit in the third quarter without success, but then Caitlin got some baskets, Mary Ashley got some baskets, and all of a sudden then that opened up the rest of the offense.
We try and do that so much, Tim. We try to go work inside out, and what that means is not just getting the ball to our post players, but penetration with passes, but also from our guards getting in the lane. And the more that we can get the ball inside, it opens things up for Madison Layden, for Abby, for, you know, our guards to be able to shoot. So, you know, for us to get it in and have success really helped us within the outside game.
All right, we need to take a quick break. We'll have more with Kelly Komara after this. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Carson Murray, great up from the skimmer horn. It's back at the student section, kept alive, and it gets over. Aubrey Hamilton mistimes it, and Purdue takes the points. How improbable.
Absolutely incredible, Alex. You see the drive from the Boilermakers, and who else? Eva Hudson.
Out of bounds, a service error, the second of the match so far for Marquette, gives Purdue the first lead of the night. They'll take set number 1, and 17-15 in the fifth. Purdue won both those sets.
Miscommunication there by the Marquette offense.
And Purdue takes advantage of a free ball, what they've done so great all night.
What a beautiful setup.
A block from Marquette, and they take set number 3. We're not done yet, folks. Reitzma. Hudson keeps the set alive. Skammerhorn back to serve. Block for Purdue. They've got match point coming up.
Raven, Colvin, period. Hudson offensively, Colvin comes in defensively, and the Boilermakers are tasting the sugar.
The 8th block for Purdue, 8th team block.
How sweet it is!
And the Boilers have done it! They advance to the Sweet 16 for the 5th time in 6 years. Skammerhorn finishes with 2 aces. She had 1 in the first set. She closes it for her team. And what a win for this Purdue program. They're still not playing their best volleyball.
Everyone needs a little playing time, so before a Purdue basketball game or any time throughout the week, stop by Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Kelly Komara pinch hitting in the first half of the show tonight. We'll have Alex Guyton in half number 2. The Boilermakers taking on Southeast Missouri tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We'll talk more about this week's opponents, but let's go back again. You know, you came out and you shot the ball really well against Dayton. You were a player that never lacked confidence, and that was one of the reasons you were a successful player. When you have a stretch like you had down in the Bahamas, when literally you can't put the ball in the basket, how do you maintain as a coach to make sure that your kids' confidence don't sag?
That's a great question, and honestly, if I had the best answer to it, I'd sell a novel or a book and make millions of dollars. But no, it's such a tough line, because confidence is really internal, right? I can motivate you, I can tell you how we believe in you, but it has to come from within. So we talk a lot about, if the outside shots aren't falling, how can you get your confidence? Shooting the free throw, right? You see the ball go in, you feel it, you visualize it. And so, you know, during a game, if shots aren't falling, we always tell players, attack the rim, get fouled, get to the free throw line, take a deep breath, see the ball go in the hoop, and maybe that'll get you some confidence to get going. But you're right. I mean, shooting and playing at that level is so much to do with confidence.
Well, and Coach Painter talks about it all the time. You can't play as a player through your offense, because even if you're not scoring, even if you're not making shots, you can still grab a rebound, set a screen, get a loose ball. You can still do things to help your team win.
Absolutely. I think that's something that young players forget about, too, because everybody has a trainer, right? And everybody works on their offensive game, and they forget about the other side of the ball, which makes such a huge difference. And for one thing, it gets the crowd going. Like, you get on the floor for a loose ball, and you get up, man, the crowd's ignited, and people are cheering, and all of a sudden that gives you confidence to go then and make the next shot.
Let's talk about the Valparaiso game then on Sunday. A little, I would say, a tale of 2 halves in that one.
Yeah.
The first half offensively, not so good. Second half, 50 points. So what was different?
Yeah, I don't know. We sat there at halftime, and I looked at Katie and I said, if I bought a ticket to this game, I might have given it back. It wasn't the prettiest game, but you know, I think what we did, and we talked about it off air, is just they calmed down a little bit. We knew our offense, we were running some good stuff, and we were getting shots. They just weren't falling. So we just told them, hey, go out there, take a deep breath. We're going to continue to do what we did the first half and have confidence in our shot.
And you found the shooting in the second half, but you also got a really big contribution from your freshman, Rashonda Jones, with 22 points. And, you know, I thought coming in she was going to help you, especially on the defensive end. Her offense, I don't know what your expectations were, but her offense is a little bit past what I thought it would be so far.
You're spot on. You know, the reason why she's called Spider is because she's just all over the floor defensively, and she gets people in her web, so to speak, and we didn't know how much offense we would get. We thought we'd get breakaway layups from steals or, you know, maybe transition points, but her pull-up game, her 3, I mean, she has not only exceeded our expectations, but has really blown us all away.
And it's that pull-up shot, and I know the analytics will tell you that a lot of 2-point shots are not good shots. I say throw those things in the trash. You come down and shoot a 15-foot shot in transition, those should be automatic shots.
And those are her shots, right? So like people talk about analytics and what's a good shot and what's a bad shot. Well, a good shot for Spider is maybe not a good shot for Madison Layden. They're very different players. So for her, a pull-up jumper in transition, maybe with 2 or 3 people on her, is a really good shot for her. So, you know, she just jumps so high. I mean, y'all, you watch her and she gets up and you look and go, holy smokes, like how high can that kid jump? But just a phenomenal person and a phenomenal athlete.
Madison Layden had struggled a little bit scoring down in the Bahamas, but then she comes back and she's been hot from the field in the last few games. What's different with her? Is it again confidence? Is it just getting the belief back in herself?
You know, we had played Madison off and on at the 4 position and the 3 position. So the 4 position is a position that plays a little bit more down low and in the post, and obviously a 3 is more of a guard. And now that she's shifted a little bit more, playing the 3 and having Mary Ashley at the 4, I think it's settled her a little bit, and she's now feeling the flow more of what we do guard-wise in our offense.
Well, and I think it's also important to point out, and Katie talks about this a lot, most nights she's going to be guarding the other team's best player.
Yeah, for sure, and you wouldn't even think it. Like looking at Madison Layden, you wouldn't think like, oh, she's our best defender. Madison Layden is so smart. Her basketball IQ is one of the best I've ever seen as a coach in 20 years, and I think she uses that to her advantage, and that's why we put her on our best player.
All right, we're going to have more with Kelly Komara right after this. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield. Ready to get this one underway? Good crowd on hand here on a Friday night at UD Arena. And now here's a 3 by Madison Layden. It's good. With 9 on the shot clock. Ellis pulls up for a 3 on the way. Good! Boilermakers 4 for 4 from 3-point range.
Go out swinging. Go out swinging like we did the first quarter. And keep swinging. All 20. Let's go. All 20. All 20. Pure domination.
Working one-on-one in the post to a cutter and making the layup good as Abby Ellis takes it to the middle. Nice bounce pass inside. Stevenson scores and draws the foul. Purdue knocks off the Dayton Flyers 67-59.
Bird win. Best of many.
Here, it is the Valparaiso Beacons against the Purdue Boilermakers. They get it to Mila Reynolds, and she banks it home, her first point. She'll fire the 3 and hit. Rashunda Jones with the triple. And immediately, they were double-teamed. Layden took it away and laid it in. Emily in the corner. Here's Swanson with another 3. In and out, no. Yeah, it is good. It is good with 1.8 to go. So 83-56 is the final score.
Another win in Mackey.
I remember playing here, and there was something in this concourse that you walked by every single day, and it made you push and strive and make sacrifices when you didn't want to make sure we had another one. So we wanted to make sure we got it back up here where it belongs. So thank you for your greatness, and thank you for being here.
Just about ready to get this one underway. Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. It's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Purdue Global is Purdue's accredited and affordable online solution for working adults. Persistence pays off at Purdue Global. We'll go to Facebook here quickly. Ira, as always, in Swamico, Wisconsin, said he loved the intensity, especially in the second half with what he calls the rooks, and we're going to talk about them in just a minute. He was giving KG a shot here, too, with the Go Pack Go. I'm sure she's still in mourning from her Kansas City Chiefs loss earlier this week. I know you're listening, Katie. Sorry about that. Hacksaw, my friend from Littlestown, Pennsylvania, checking in. Diane down in Austin, Texas. Brianne over at Ball State. And Brent from 12 Miles. So, again, thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes, and thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on our normal night next week, the next 2 Mondays, and then we'll take a break for the holidays. So back next Monday night at 7:10. All right, let's talk about some of those other guards that you got. Abby Ellis is fun to watch, and I had the broadcaster from Dayton come up to me after the game and said, Friday, even though she was wearing a different uniform, I really enjoyed watching her play.
Yeah, Abby is, it's funny because she's just a ball of energy, and Abby operates the best at an 8, but she usually is at a 12. And so if we can get Abby to operate more in like an 8, but her energy and her just the way she affects the game is tremendous for us.
And she was one of the players, I think, Sunday that was maybe the most frustrated in the first half of that game. I talked to the people, and I think the folks here will understand my era. With vinyl records, you used to play a vinyl record at either 33 or 45. Abby was trying to play the whole first half at 78 RPM. And she just had to slow it down a little bit.
Slow it down.
Or it's going to sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Slow it down. Yeah, we try and talk to her about that, and that was one of the things. She's so efficient and so productive when she operates in that 8. And Abby, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. That 8 is really, really good.
8 is great. Janae Terry is has a unique skill set for a guard. One of the best rebounders, not only in this team, but in the conference. Sometimes you almost have to force her to shoot the basketball. But she's got a serviceable pull-up jumper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like her third option. Her first option is pass because she's a tremendous passer, and probably her second option is pass. But, when you get to the Big Ten and people start scouting you really, really deeply, they start to scheme against players that don't shoot. And so in the non-conference, you want to give your players, the ones that maybe aren't known for shooting, the green light, right? Janae, you've got to take these shots, especially, if you're unguarded, because come Big Ten season, they just won't guard you. And they'll say, hey, we're going to play off of her and make her shoot it. And that sometimes messes with players' heads. So for us, every day in practice, if I had a recorder, I'd play it every time. You got to shoot it, JT. You got to shoot it.
But she loves the assists.
She does.
She does. I think she takes a lot more joy out of passing the ball than she does in shooting it.
She loves it, and she let me know that she just beat my record. So she.
Yes, she did. She passed you. She passed Katie Gearlds, and she passed Sharon Versa here in the last few days.
Look at that!
Actually, I take it back. She's 3 away from Sharon and into the top 10. So that'll probably happen tomorrow night. Sophie Swanson's a player that we've been anxious to get back on the floor because she's coming off an ACL injury. She has a unique skill set, I think, that you're lacking elsewhere on the team.
I'll tell you what Sophie has is Sophie's tough as nails, and Sophie's not afraid. You talk about a kid with confidence and is tough as nails. She makes some things happen in practice, and we kind of look at each other and go, holy cow. She's just strong. She's smart. She's athletic. And one of the best things about her is she doesn't know any better, right? Like, I think that's a great trait. She just doesn't know any better, so she's just going to play as hard as she can and shoot the basketball whenever she's open. And that's a wonderful thing. You don't want anybody to ever be hesitant.
Speaking of people who give you different things in the backcourt, Jayla Smith is in that category. The big thing with Jayla, can we get her on a consistent level from game to game?
Yeah, that's a great point. And, there was a play in the game against Valpo where she ripped it baseline, left hand, went up and just put her shoulder into somebody's chest and made it. And I remember watching the game film after the game, and I took my phone out and I filmed it on my computer and I sent it to her and I said, you could do this every time down the floor. You could really do this every time down the floor. And, of course, she texts back, I got you, coach. Like, she knows, but I think the more that she does it and the more that we encourage her to just use your athleticism and go score.
2 more freshmen in the backcourt, McKenna Layden and Emily Monson, I think both have high ceilings, both trying to find their way right now and find their spot on this rotation.
Yeah, McKenna is very similar to Madison in a sense of her IQ is so high. You can draw up a play on the board and say, okay, go run it, and McKenna will run it that exact way every time. She's very, very good at picking up things. I mean, obviously a coach's daughter, been around the game a long time. Emily, kid can knock down some shots. Still finding her way, as all freshmen do, right? We're just trying to find their way. But when it finally clicks for her and it becomes automatic, she's going to be very, very good.
And you, I think, were the one that told me she spends as much, if not more, time in the gym than any other player.
Absolutely. She's always in there, always getting shots up, always working on her game, watching film, just a student of the game.
All right, we're going to let you take a break and maybe get some more holiday shopping done or something online. We'll bring Alex Guyton up next. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
That time of year again. That time when it's no longer about what we've done, but what we can do, what we will do. All those bruises and floor burns and pit drills have led to this. Because this is when seasons are defined by survival. When victories are born on the backs of nothing more than desire and the courage to take it. Do you hear me? The This next part isn't about any single person. It's about team. It's about grit. It's about being fearless. It's about heart. The concept of underdogs, forget it. Because in this pool, with these teams, it's all metal and talent. Every single one of them. The thing is, playing teams like this is nothing new for us. We've watched empires crumble and dynasties tumble beneath our feet.
Gets to celebrate. They take down number 3.
And when we got knocked down, we got back up and said, let's go again.
Nebraska was able to close this one out.
We've been through the fire and have come out strong.
And then Hudson finishes off.
No giant is bigger than the shadow we will cast. Respect is earned, and that we like. That we thrive on.
Chacoin unleashes. Boy, Chacoin.
Haven't you heard? Age is just a number, and we may be young, but we've seen more battles than most. Make no mistake, we will rise to every challenge.
No surprise, Myers in the play again.
The seasons may be changing, but not us, not our fight, nor our sight of what lies just beyond. Our focus remains the same, because our vision is as clear and steady as it was. From day.
You're listening to the Katie Gearlds Show on 95.3 Bob FM.
Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 33 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. Joined by Alex Guyton, another assistant coach on Katie Gearld's staff. Before we get to Alex, we want to give a quick shout-out and good wishes to the women's volleyball team, playing Thursday night, just 48 hours from now or so, in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. And they're going to be taking on the Oregon Ducks, so hopefully they'll be able to move through and take on either Wisconsin or Penn State for the right to go to the Final Four. I don't know if I ever asked, were you a volleyball player at all?
Absolutely not. I love to watch it, though.
Yeah.
Love to watch it.
It's fabulous sport in person.
It just wasn't for me, honestly.
I understand. Well, it's the jumping. I mean, I can't imagine.
They did a lot of running to me. They ran more than basketball, I felt like.
Yeah, but I just can't imagine the knee, the stuff that takes out of your knees.
That's
after
a lot.
while.
That and the spandex, it just wasn't my game.
Yeah. I just thought about. That's like me and Speedo, and that nobody wants to ever see that ever. People are eating now. That's terrible. By the way, your mom is watching, and I have to tell a quick story. She was down in the Bahamas, and I was getting off an elevator early one morning. I think it was the only morning that I had like free, so I was kind of half asleep, and I opened the elevator in the Bahamas in the middle, and I hear, "Hi, Tim." And I'm looking, and I'm looking right at your mom, and it just doesn't register. And I realized after she had a big floppy hat on.
Oh yeah.
And it was like Clark Kent. You know, like Clark Kent. Nobody really realized that was Superman with glasses. I mean, really?
Right.
I didn't know it. I didn't recognize her.
Robin lived her best life in the Bahamas. She had a blast.
Oh, she did, and she. Well, she's always around. She's great to be around.
Man, she loves the Boilermakers, that's for sure.
Linda says hello too from your two Michigan friends. So
hello everybody.
All right. Let's talk about. We talked about confidence with Kelly a couple of segments ago. You were an outstanding high school player, had a great college career, played professionally. I'm sure that there were good days and bad days. When you had a bad day, how did you get over it? How did you move past that and go on to the next day?
Honestly, just kind of trusting in not only my faith, but like my foundation, and just knowing like basketball was my outlet and my happy place. And I knew if I went to work harder the next day that I would eventually see the outcome that I wanted to. And that's kind of how I built it up.
Were you superstitious at all? I mean, if you had a bad game or something, would you change something the next game? Or were you more suited to go back to your superstition?
I was very superstitious. So I was all about putting everything on the left side of my body, kind of the same principles of what I did, how I did things. And you always kind of chase that feeling that you want to feel. Yeah. And then eventually I learned, like, the more I tried to chase that, the more it was out of my control. So I kind of just kept to kind of 4 simple things that I could be consistent with, and after that, just leave it up to fate.
Now, on the other side of that, when you have a great game and you're in the zone, and you have that feeling, and you want to capture, like you want to put it in a bottle, but you can't. How do you try to recreate that?
That's the hardest thing, and I think for me, it's just like wondering where my mind was in that moment and kind of channeling that back in. And I think if you have kind of a foundation of this is what I do every game, and these are kind of simple things that I can keep control of, it keeps that control, and so that way you're able to replicate that more often.
I'm going to talk about the post players in the next segment, but let's talk about this season so far. We're 8 games in, so not a little over a quarter of the way through the season. Big Ten play starts. It's always weird to play these games early in the season, these Big Ten games before your non-conference is done. But you know, you look at where this team wants to go. This game, it's Sunday at Minnesota, is a really big basketball game.
Oh, definitely. And then knowing that we came off a loss last year at the end of the season with them, it's not necessarily a payback, but you want to show you learned from those mistakes. And them coming with the new coaching staff and kind of the same players, but a different look. It's going to be a good matchup for us for sure.
They are, I think, 7-1 now, but they haven't left Williams Arena yet this year. Now they're going to play Kentucky on the road sometime this week, and then they go back home Sunday to face Purdue. It'll be interesting to see how they fare away from home and if they can bring their momentum, if they have a good performance, back to their home court on Sunday.
Oh, definitely. And then handling Kentucky's athleticism. So it'll be a nice matchup for us to see them away from their home court. But knowing that we have to play them at home, I think it's really no difference there.
More good film to watch, though.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to talk post players when we come back. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Hit 1-3.
Well, this takes it to the bucket. A nice job, and just like that, you know, they're understanding.
To making her a very, very dangerous player.
Well, there's thought about it. Jones thinks about it, and she puts it down. Layden fires that. And that one does go down. It down. Jackson not able to beat the double team. It is deserving, I think, as we see a steal from Jones there. Terry out to Jones again. She's going to take a three, and she's going to send it down with ease. And the freshman playing like a true leader now with 15 points. Ernest was setting herself, pump fakes. And again, it's Jones on the defensive end. What a player and what a game she's having with so much physicality and obviously that high IQ she already has. As Madison Layden able to get a hand on that one and put some high pressure on Ray Redmond. Just takes it out of her hand, puts that one up, puts it down.
You know, Ernest, being the player that she is easily able to intercept that and then capitalize it right after.
Well, I think if Valparaiso can just get this lead to under 10 with 5 minutes to go, finally Ellis is able to get one going. I think you're so right, Bree. You know, it just takes Jones and Ellis to really put the final touches on this game. Great job by Jones once again to get that one to fall. I think both teams now just need a good chance to get maybe some of those younger players in. Great job by Layden and the Boilermakers. Great defensive effort again by the Boilermakers. They're just happy to keep playing with that same intensity as well. Jada Smith into Mary Ashley Stevenson, and into the score column she goes.
And now that Valparaiso has hit 51, it will still be another game until Purdue is able to keep a team scoring 50 points or less.
Monson puts that one up, puts it down. What a great shot there by the freshman, held it.
Not hit 1-3.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Time for our Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student-athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are boiler-made. We'll start with a couple of players playing in Spain. Aya Traore, at the ripe old age of 40, still hooping it up. Wow. Had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 block shots Saturday, but her team lost 62-59, is now 3-4 on the season. Ariana Harris, also playing in Spain on Saturday, had 8 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 block shots in a 63-60 loss. Her team is 2-6. Leisha Petrie, we were just talking about Leisha during the break. Leisha played all 40 minutes in her game in Finland, 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 steals, although her team lost 89-61. Her team's 3-7, but Leisha is averaging 19.9 points a game through 10 games, making the most of her opportunity playing overseas.
Absolutely. She's killing it over there.
She's getting a lot of playing time, too. She's playing 35.9 minutes a game.
She's taking advantage of it, too.
They might be a little short on roster space, but, get your shots up. Shoot while you can.
Collect that check, girl.
All right, let's talk about the post players on this team, and let's start with the Harpers. Caitlin Harper did not have a big day on Sunday because, again, the style of play that Valparaiso did, but, boy, she gave you some big minutes and big points Friday night in Dayton.
Oh, absolutely. She was big time for us. I think we kind of laughed about it on the other day at practice. She goes, well, I kind of got the rest. I'm fresh. I'm ready to go now. That was just a bump in the road. And I was like, I'm glad you have that positive attitude because she's known to beat herself up a little bit. So good to see the bounce back. And after the way she played at Dayton, understandable that she maybe didn't play her best, but she definitely showed out in Dayton for us.
And a very intelligent young woman, and I think that intelligence shows on the court. She's an undersized post player. She has to use the angle. She has to use her intelligence to anticipate what the other players are going to do.
Blessing all around for all of them.
From beautiful Heartland, Wisconsin, they come down for most of the games. Mila Reynolds finally got back on the floor after a few games off. And, when you were struggling on Sunday, she was the one player in the first quarter that's putting the ball in the basket.
Absolutely. She's just so skilled and being able to score and use her positioning in her body and stroke it from the outside and be able to carve space out on the inside as well. I think that's one thing you say about our post players. They're physical and they have a level of skill and being able to catch and move their feet around in the post. We have a good collection and group versatility.
Well, versatility, I think, is the first word I think of when I think of Mary Ashley Stevenson because she's a player, and she talked about it on the show when she was on earlier. She can score at all three levels, and the one thing coming from New York City, I talked to her dad after the game Friday night. She played a lot of games in the Bronx growing up, and that is not a place for the meek if you're going to play basketball.
Exactly.
So she's used to physical play.
Absolutely. She's tough, she's physical, and she doesn't back down from anybody. And that coming from a freshman who's learning a lot, being able to absorb so much, she's just very talented, and her ceiling's as high as it could be.
And I think she's also a player that really she plays with confidence, and you can see that confidence come out.
Absolutely, and we love to see it. She gets frazzled every round now again, and you forget, she's a freshman out there doing all that. So just hats off to her to keep grinding and learning as much as you can and absorbing it like a sponge.
I wanted to mention one of the players I didn't mention before with the Z because I think Amaya Reynolds is starting to get back into some playing shape, or we're not going to see her on the court this season. But we know athletically what she can do, and it really excites you to think about what you've got coming here in the future with her and Rashonda Jones and some of these other players you've got.
Oh, it's wild. Z's going to have her hands full for sure, but she'll have a good time with that. Amaya, once again, a coach's daughter. She's very smart, knows the game, and is into the X's and O's and all the finer details of things, and has kind of been an extension to us, to all the girls as far as a player's perspective and coaching's perspective. She knows the game. She wants to be involved around the game, and getting her back, and can't wait to see her on the court. It'll be great.
Yeah, she suffered a pretty serious foot injury as a high school senior. We didn't know how long it would take her to get back, and you watch her run now in a straight line. She looks pretty good.
She does look good. Just happy to see her with a basketball in her hand and moving, and to have a smile on her face back. It's been great to see her progression so far, and can't wait to see where it goes. So.
All right, we're talking to Alex Guyton. We'll have more with Alex in 2 minutes. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Arson and 17-15 in the fifth. Purdue won both those sets.
Miscommunication there by the Marquette offense.
And Purdue takes advantage of a free ball, what they've done so great all night.
What a beautiful setup.
A block from Marquette, and they take set number 3. We're not done yet, folks. Reitzma. Hudson keeps the set alive. Skammerhorn back to serve. Block for Purdue. They've got match point coming up.
Raven, Colvin, period. Hudson offensively, Colvin comes in defensively, and the Boilermakers are tasting the sugar.
The 8th block for Purdue, 8th team block. How sweet it is! And the Boilers have done it! They advance to the Sweet 16 for the 5th time in 6 years. Skammerhorn finishes with 2 aces. She had 1 in the first set. She closes it for her team. And what a win for this Purdue program. They're still not playing their best volleyball, folks. They're a team.
Everyone needs a little playing time, so before a Purdue basketball game or any time throughout the week, stop by Walk-Ons here in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Again, we'll be back on Monday nights the next 2 weeks for the Katie Gearlds Show starting at 7:10. We're talking with assistant coach Alex Guyton tonight. We're just talking about arenas that around the Big Ten and favorite places and non-favorite places to play. From a shooting perspective, what was your favorite place in the conference to play?
I mean, I guess I'm not much of a shooter, but my favorite place to play was probably Michigan State. It was homey. It felt like Mackey, so to speak. It just, even though I did shoot the best probably at Baker's Life or Greencher's Life or whatever you want to call it now. But I probably had my better games there, but I would say Michigan State for
Was
sure.
there a place you hated to go?
Like we talked about, it'd be too easy to say IU. IU is not my favorite arena. Besides that, I would probably say Ohio State, just because they play in a big arena. And it doesn't feel like a college vibe. It feels like a professional vibe,
And I thought Penn State kind of has the same thing, and especially with women's games. They don't draw a lot of fans. They used to, but they don't anymore.
It's
and
real eerie in there as well.
It's dark. It's quiet. Yeah, and it's just
it's not the vibe, Tim.
It's not the vibe. When you put together a scouting report, you got a couple of games this week, and what's the first thing when you're taking a look at a team on your laptop? What are you looking for?
For me, it's okay. What's their go-to method of scoring? Okay, do they prefer move off fast break? Are they X's and O's? And then what are they going to do to us on the defensive level? And how are we going to counter that? I guess it's all kind of jumbled in one section, and then I kind of break it down, kind of as I continue to watch and kind of pick it apart.
How long will it typically take you before you feel comfortable in saying, okay, I feel like I've got a handle on what this team's trying to do?
If you go in hours, it probably sitting down and just knocking it out, probably good straight hours, 6 hours of nonstop, I feel comfortable. If you go in prep time, a 2-day scout's ideal for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does give you a little bit of time. And then you can start to break down individuals and get tendencies and things like that.
Absolutely.
Some teams have used and used services. Is a Purdue? Do you do all the scouting yourself? Do you rely on other people to help, or how do you put together the scouts?
We do the scout in-house, all completely by ourselves. So it's all hands on deck. We all kind of play our part. Z runs, so to speak, the defensive aspect of it. Mark is the offensive coordinator for the other team. I do Bob's. We have KG and our video coordinator, Lakin, working, and also Abby, our GA, working on personnel. And it's kind of a collaborative effort where we all kind of bring our pieces to the table, sit down and talk about it, and then come up with a game plan.
And it is amazing what technology has done over the years, too, because after a game, somebody can hand you something, and it takes just a matter of minutes before you can clip all the offensive plays, and you can see what did we do against a 2-3 zone, and how did people defend us. Whereas in the old days, when we used to have to project things on a wall, they used to have to do that, really. It took a lot longer.
Absolutely. And then now we have like sideline technology as well, where we can see plays that just happened on the court, which is, for me, when I operate Bobs, or even just kind of seeing what are they scoring on, how are they getting to the basket, anything like that. It's been great for all of us to kind of contribute and see that in live time. Okay, we can go sit down and talk to a player. Hey, this is where you missed that coverage, that backside, how it was actually yours. And that for them to have the visual has been a great asset.
So they do allow you to have live video down on the bench.
Yes, absolutely.
Has that always been the case?
No,
That's
it just came.
New, isn't it?
It's just new this year. We all say we won't have time to use it. We won't use it, but I think it's kind of helped in the small batches, and I think as it gets better, we'll start to incorporate it a lot more as well.
All right, we need one more break. It is the final segment of the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, coming up on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield. To get this one underway, good crowd on hand here on a Friday night at UD Arena. And now here's a 3 by Madison Layden. It's good. With 9 on the shot clock. Ellis pulls up for a 3 on the way. Good. Boilermakers 4 for 4 from 3-point range.
Go out swinging. Go out swinging like we did the first quarter. Keep swinging. All 20. Let's go. All 20. All 20. Pure domination.
Working 1-on-1 in the post to a cutter, and making the layup good is Abby Ellis. Takes it to the middle. Nice bounce pass inside. Stevenson scores and draws the foul. Purdue knocks off the Dayton Flyers 67-59.
Road win. Go some many.
Here, it is the Valparaiso Beacons against the Purdue Boilermakers. They get it to Mila Reynolds, and she banks it home, her first point. She'll fire the 3 and hit. Rashunda Jones with the triple. And immediately, they were double-teamed. Layden took it away and laid it in. Emily in the corner. Here's Swanson with another 3. In and out. No. Yeah, it is good. It is good with 1.8 to go. So 83-56 is the final score.
Another win in Mackey.
I remember playing here, and there was something in this concourse that you walked by every single day, and it made you push and strive and make sacrifices when you didn't want to make sure we had another one. So we wanted to make sure we got it back up here where it belongs. So thank you for your greatness, and thank you for being here.
Just about ready to get this one underway. Good crowd on hand here on a Friday night. Game plan presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, home of the official credit union for Purdue fans. Learn more about their products and services at purduefed.com. Taking on Southeast Missouri tomorrow night. They come in at 2-5. Their last game was a road contest at Missouri. They lost that one by more than 40 points. Team from the Ohio Valley Conference. We saw Southern Indiana from the same conference earlier. They were picked to finish about the same spot. A quick nutshell, what do you expect from this team tomorrow night?
Oh, they're going to bring a lot of energy. They're going to bring no fight. They're going to be really athletic, so we got to be able to contain the basketball, keep them out of the paint.
And again, an opportunity. Anytime you've got a smaller conference coming in to play in a Big Ten school, you know they're going to be fired up and ready to go.
Absolutely, as they should be.
And then we've talked a little bit about it already, but that Minnesota game on Sunday, the Purdue went to the Williams Arena last season late in the year, kind of needing a win, we thought, to get in the tournament. Didn't get the win, but did get in. You kind of owe a little payback, but that's a Minnesota team that you know plays well in their home floor.
Plays well, plays hard, so it's going to be a tough contest for us for sure.
And they've got a new head coach this year, so maybe a new system. Lindsey Whalen gone. Don has come in, Plitzowit, and you know, I'm sure they're going to, just like Purdue, they want to get the Big Ten season off to a great start.
Absolutely. So it's gonna be two battle of the tails there, and hopefully we're the better one at the end.
When you played, did you play in the pavilion, sports pavilion, or did you play in Williams Arena when you played at Minnesota?
Which one's which?
The Williams is the one with the raised floor.
Oh, the raised floor, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was really high. It used to be higher before than it is now.
Were you scared about running off the court?
Absolutely, I was terrified. That's one thing. I didn't even test close to those waters. I stayed really inbound. SEMO flew off a couple times. I know.
I remember that.
Rayburn flew off a couple times.
Yep.
That was not for me.
No. Well, you know, stay grounded.
Exactly.
Stay grounded. Well, Steve says, great job, Coach Guyton. I would agree. Great job, Coach Komara. We thank you both for pinch hitting tonight.
Appreciate it.
Good luck tomorrow night against the Southeast Missouri.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, again, the Boilermakers will take on Southeast Missouri. That'll tip off tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Mackey. We'll have that broadcast starting at 6:45. Then Purdue goes on the road on Sunday to take on Minnesota. 2 o'clock tip, we'll have it at 1:45. Our engineer tonight, Wes Scott. Our producer, Roger Forsyth. Video by Corey Palm Unplugged this evening. The Boilermakers, again, back on the road on Sunday, and then we'll be back here next Monday night. Next 2 Monday nights, we'll be here at 7:10 for the Katie Gearlds Show. For Kelly Komara, for Alex Guyton, I'm Tim Newton. This is Boilermaker Basketball on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.